All right, Matty, Merry Christmas. How are you doing?
Merry Chrysler to you as well. I'm doing well. Excited to enjoy the holidays a bit here and excited to do another show here at the end of the year.
Yeah, Matty, we're going to have a great show today. You are going to be rating crypto portfolios. It was requested by a Crypto Charge member in the Discord. And of course, we're like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a great idea to cap off the year. So that is what we are doing today, team. But before we get into that, become a Crypto Charge member. We've been doing the Ask Matty show for not a year now, but for a majority of 2023. And if you're not a Crypto Charge member yet, you are really missing out. We got a lot of good things going over there. Make it your New Year's resolution. It's almost there, New Year's. Make it your New Year's resolution to get absolutely tapped in to a community like Crypto Charge, where you're able to learn an abundance of things about crypto. Matty, give your 1 minute spiel of Crypto Charged.
Yeah, sure. So I'm sure you guys have been a part of Discords before, right? You hop in there, you're able to ask some questions, and that's a small slice of what we offer. We go live 5 times a week, and we do updates those 5 days a week. We do technicals, we cover the macro, we cover the fundamentals. We teach you guys a little bit about what these cryptos do. We teach you guys a little bit about how to read the news, what's important out there, right? We kind of get you guys plugged in with a lot of stuff. We have our coin library. We're able to see our favorite picks, buy entry points, where we're looking to set limit orders, our end of cycle targets, making it really easy for you guys to just go scrape the information you need and be involved or as not involved as you want to be. Of course, the more involved you are, the more you're going to get out of it. But we want to give you guys all the tools without having to just be in the Discord, being able to go on our website and get those resources you need. So hope you guys check us out. At least check out that 30-day free trial. Code YouTube gets you 30 days free plus 50% off any membership.
I love that, Matty. And, I'm so grateful for Crypto Charge, not being able to work here, but to be able to learn constantly from you guys. And I went to a Christmas party this weekend, and I had a great conversation with a guy that is deeply into crypto. And he was just telling me he was following these guys on YouTube and all this other stuff. And it's really hard to trust people nowadays. It's really hard to trust where you get your information from, and also to make money in crypto if you're not that tapped into it. And I was just telling him, man, it's like, dude, you got to check out Crypto Charge first of all, because we are doing it like no other. We have our website where we do our shows, we have the tools, and then we have our Discord community. And I know it feels like we're shilling it right now, which we are, but it is so helpful to people. And every person that I have gotten over to Crypto Charge has always loved it. I know it's Christmas, so if you want, you can gift someone a Crypto Charge membership. That is a good idea. It's not too late, even though it's Christmas. But definitely check us out, team, and you get a free trial to check us out. And that, I guarantee you, you will not regret it. We have progressed so much since the start. We started almost two and some change months ago, and it is the people I have seen grow within their investing and within crypto has been exponential, and it is really fulfilling to see. So I want you to join us and be a part of that community. All right, we're done shilling. It's time to rate your portfolios. Matty, how are you going to be rating these portfolios here before we get into it? What are you taking into account?
Yeah, so I'm going to take the things into account that I would if I were to add something to my portfolio. So, again, for me, I'm a little bit more concentrated. My portfolios consist of about 9 coins and then cash, of course. So, I'm going to be looking at, kind of diversity and how that diversity is spread, right? Are you spread amongst multiple verticals? Are the assets you're involved in fundamentally sound? And what is kind of maybe the technical upside to that, right? Is it, necessarily the best technical upside, or are you selling yourself short? So those are some of the things I'm going to consider when we look at these portfolios today.
All right, let's do this. Matt4992 says he's got his portfolio laid out here. Casper, EGLD, HBAR, Link, Veracity. Matty, what are your thoughts on this portfolio? So it's top down. So the biggest holding is Casper and the smallest holding is Veracity. What are some of your general thoughts on this portfolio?
Cool. So diversity-wise, really good here. We're not doubling up on anything really. I could say the only one we're quote-unquote doubling up on maybe is Casper and HBAR, but I hold both of those, so can't call the kettle black here. When we look at number 2, though, that's going to be EGLD. It looks like it was 20%, I think, when we were on the previous screen, was 20% of your portfolio is comprised of EGLD. Multiverse-focused project, right? Really, really crazy TPS, 100,000 transactions per second. Now, I don't know if that's effective transactions per second, but either which way, you got 5 cents per transaction, relatively cheap, right? Now, there are cheaper solutions technically, but, in the grand scheme of things, right, they're not scraping you like Visa and MasterCard are when you go to an ARCO, charging you 65 cents, which is still ridiculous on a $4 transaction. transaction, but I digress. I like that you're invested in metaverse. I'm personally not invested in metaverse. It's a very volatile asset class. It's an emerging asset class. I've given my thoughts many times on why I think that metaverse adoption is still, quite a ways out, at least in relations to people playing crypto specific metaverse games, right? That big wave of adoption there, right? Where we need to get more of these AAA games on board with using some of these chains in order for that adoption to really accelerate. So having 20% of your entire portfolio in a metaverse project is maybe a little bit bold, right? Maybe break that down into a few different metaverse projects. Maybe like take, the bag and split it into thirds. Maybe you go like GALA and Sandbox as part of it, or maybe, GALA and Mana as part of it, right? You can maybe break that down a little bit, because I just think it's a little bit of a heavy concentration. I know it had an incredible run in 2021. Actually, one of the cleanest uptrends that I saw. Just followed this trend line. Like every time it bounced off this trend line, it just kept ripping higher on the daily chart. So, I have no doubt about, the previous performance, but maybe you break that down a little bit, or maybe you break that down a little bit, maybe keep 10% of it or half of it, and then the other half, goes maybe split between metaverse, and then maybe you add something like Zcash for a privacy play, because you don't have a privacy play here, right? I do love HBAR. HBAR obviously has very high TPS through their hash graph model, a non-POS and a non-POW proof of work model, right? Proof of work model or proof of stake model. We have a hash graph, which is highly more efficient, where transactions are essentially gossip to other nodes. So we're able to get much higher throughput there, very cheap, native NFTs, very, very bullish on HBAR. So I like that. I wouldn't change anything about that. You chose Chainlink as your oracle here. I think it's important that everyone has an oracle, because again, not the sexiest thing. It's not the ETH killer, but you have this need for decentralized data feeds to feed your smart contracts accurately. I've talked previously about why this is very important, right? So and they're already integrated, right? These Chainlink and API 3 are both already heavily integrated into these platforms that enable smart contracts. So no problem with Chainlink, especially if you've been accumulating Chainlink all through this accumulation period. You're up really, really nice on your Chainlink. So looking good. I'm not going to tell you to swap that for API 3. But if you guys didn't have Chainlink or API 3, my pick is API 3. It's a little bit further back in the cycle. I'm earning very juicy APY and have been for over a year now on my API 3. So that's very good. Last one you have here is Veracity. Veracity is oriented towards kind of like monetizing video websites, right? So it'd be equivalent of like being able to monetize like a decentralized YouTube. So again, a vertical I'm personally not exposed to, but I think it's an excellent vertical that you are exposed to. Again, maybe taking some of that very niche vertical you're in and then splitting that out a little bit, maybe cutting that bag in half and then spreading some of that to like a Zcash. So maybe if you took like your EGLD position and your Veracity position and you like cut those down a little bit, and then you spread your chips a little bit thinner on some of the things like Zcash that haven't popped yet, or maybe even a couple other metaverse. So you're not just betting on the one that went absolutely ballistic last cycle. That's how I would go about it. Overall, this is a good portfolio. I don't dislike this portfolio. And I want you guys to understand that just because I don't hold it in my portfolio doesn't mean that I don't like that asset, or I think that you have a bad portfolio, right? There's thousands of assets out there. You're probably going to pick some assets that outperform my assets at some point, and that's okay. That's part of life, right? Overall, I'd say that you're maybe a tiny bit concentrated here. I'm going to give you a 6.8 here. I think it's a good portfolio. I don't think you're invested in any bad assets. Nothing fundamentally unsecure here. Everything fundamentally looks very good. All these definitely do have good tactical upside. I would suggest maybe just spreading it out a little bit or adding a little bit to your portfolio. That's all.
I like this, Matty. And this is an interesting portfolio. He's got 5 cryptos he has here. So is the 5 crypto approach dead? Should you said spread it out a little bit. So how many cryptos should he really, like big assets, big holdings? How many big holdings should this person have? We don't know what's his like dollar amount allocated into crypto. But if it was, just consider it a medium size. I don't know. What's a medium sized portfolio nowadays? I guess it's all relative to the person.
Yeah, it's subjective for sure. It's definitely subjective. I would say probably like 10 to 12 would be like the top end range of what I consider like a manageable portfolio, right? So here at 5, I'm not telling you have to break it down. In fact, you could keep your portfolio as is. I'm sure you're going to do very, very well end of cycle. Everything here, again, is very fundamentally sound. I think that there are just some plays that, for example, you look at EGLD and you look at where Zcash is right now. I think that you have better tactical upside on something like Zcash, right? So again, I'm not telling you to eliminate exposure. I'm talking about considering reducing and rotating some of that exposure so that you're not missing out on other good fundamentally and technically sound upside opportunities, right? So again, if you don't feel like you can take care of anything outside of these 5, don't touch it, right? I'd rather you be hyper focused on 5 things that you truly understand and know about, keep up with, and are able to sell at the targets that you anticipate, right? But if you are looking for a little bit more diversity, I think you could squeeze 3 or 4 more coins in here. Whether that be breaking down that metaverse into a couple other metaverse projects, adding Zcash, adding some other things that you find interesting, right? I think that it could benefit you from a rotational opportunity, being able to pop back into your laggards.
Love that. Russ says, thanks for all the content. Really appreciate it. And he listed out his portfolio here. So he's got Casper at 29%, XRP at 25%, HBAR at 23%, XLM at 5%, XDC 5%, ALGO 5%, Quant 4%. A lot of payment solutions here, Matty.
Yeah, you're the payment god in here, my guy. ISO 2022 for the most part, basically XRP down. I understand why you pick these things, and I've seen a lot of portfolios that look like this, and, I'm a holder of Algorand, I'm a holder of HBAR, I'm a holder of XRP and Casper, right? So a lot of these I hold in my portfolio. And we talked previously about, HBAR being kind of relatively on par as an L1 with Casper. Of course, there's things that set Casper apart, including, their smart contracts are a little bit more complex and a little bit more modular than the HBAR smart contracts, right? But native NFTs are very important as well. So I love seeing that. We also have native NFTs on XRP. So I don't want us to ever oversaturate ourselves with smart contracts. XDC is probably the one I would kick off this list if I had to kick one right away, and that's because they're smart contract oriented. Again, nothing wrong with XDC, but you're already betting on a whole bunch of smart contract platforms here, right? If it was me, I would take my XDC and I'd maybe take my Quant and I would rotate that into something else, because you are super, super concentrated in payment plays right now. You don't have any oracles. You don't have any privacy plays. Hell, I would even maybe consider taking some of that Quant or XDC and rotating a small portion of it into a gaming play or a metaverse play to give yourself a little bit of a bigger boost. I've done the Fibonacci's on Quant. It doesn't come close to XRP gains. It just doesn't. When you go even from current cycle high to cycle low. Of course, we can always exceed our expectations, but I always try to go 1.618 to 4.236. Where do we land on average in between here? And everything beyond this is a gift and a blow off top and exceeding expectations. Quant pound for pound does not come close to XRP with its returns, right? And again, they're trying to satiate a very similar problem here. Absolutely. Again, nothing on this list I'm going to say is fundamentally unsound. Everything here looks really, really good, right? Obviously, I'm a big Casper bull. It's become one of my biggest bags very quickly here. Smart contracts, great L1, NFTs, very fast payments, predictable gas fees. XRP obviously is my big baby. I've been holding a long-term. That will be a long-term hold for me. At least 20, 30% of my bag will be going with me years into the future, holding on to that long-term, hopefully eventually being able to borrow against it and, not have to sell it and be able to use some of that cash for other investments and things of that nature. HBAR is also a long-term hold for me. Love HBAR long-term. You're repeating yourself with XLM here. And the reason I say that just with XLM as well is when you even look at the last 6 months of price action fractals from XLM and XRP, they're pretty much mirroring each other right now, right? Even gains wise, you really don't see XLM popping off without XRP and vice versa. So it's kind of like betting on the same exact thing when you hold XRP and XLM. I made the decision over a year ago, I want to say it was almost 18 months ago now, to dump my XLM into Casper because I already had such a huge XRP position, right? So maybe consider eliminating XLM, XDC, and Quant and rotating those into some other plays. Now you're probably asking, why would I not want to also eliminate ALGO, considering it's also a payment play? I really like the institutional adoption that's happening on Algorand right now. There's also a lot of really cool projects that being built on Algo that I am not seeing on some of these other payment plays right now that I really like. And I also think Algo is one of the ones that are way further back within their cycle, right? Really just got its teeth kicked in, setting brand new lows this year. Kind of fell off of everybody's Christmas list because it was performing so poorly. Now we've gotten a very nice bottom in here, and now we're seeing some nice progressive price action, right? So I personally would keep Algorand more so from a technical upside, right? So again, all of these can be rotated back into each other. You get a 5x, you get a 6x, you get a 10x, you rotate it into some of these others. But I would suggest maybe chopping down 2 or 3 of these payment plays and diversifying yourself into a few other verticals. And again, they don't have to be my picks of verticals. Just spread your chips a little bit more thin when it comes to verticals here. So again, everything in here fundamentally sound. Lack of diversity is going to bring this score down a little bit. I'm going to give you a 5.5 out of 10 on this one, only because of your diversity. Nothing technically bad here, nothing fundamentally bad here. I just think that you're putting all of your eggs in one basket with this portfolio.
Matty, I have something to say, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So a lot of this, we're looking at, Maddie's looking at your portfolios and giving you a rating. So first of all, don't get offended. We're talking about Maddie here. Maddie knows what he's talking about, but don't get offended when it comes to your crypto picks that you get from random people on Twitter. Like, don't even start that. But second off, I want to say is a lot of these portfolio sizes, which pops into mind so much. It's always at the forefront of my mind because if you are hands off in crypto right now, imagine selling all these assets. I know it's like my first talking point when it comes to crypto portfolios, but imagine selling all these assets. So if you're hands off and you're checking, crypto, if you're like a crypto charge member and you pop in like once a month, you should probably only have like 4 to 5 assets, right? But if you are like as in tune as Matty is, that is looking at crypto every single day, pulling up TradingView, charting, looking at where he can rotate his portfolio in a bull run, strategizing. If you are in that camp, man, you should be having something of this size of portfolio. Like personally, I only have 5 large holdings, and that's just because I'm like knocking on all the sectors I want to knock on. I'm knocking on payment solutions. I'm knocking on the L1s. I'm knocking on privacy. I'm knocking on every single door that matters when it comes to crypto for me. And like you said, Matty, with this portfolio, he's banging on all payment solutions doors like, hey, let me get some of you. Let me get some of you. Like, it looks like an ETF. But, Matty, I do like your commentary. What is your rating on this?
We're going to give this a 5.5.
Okay. Well, it's funny because these are a lot of your picks here, but it also matters on look at your portfolio size. So Matty likes all these portfolios here, but look at the size of this. You're just repeating yourself over and over again. And honestly, like my bet, just like Matty just said here, I'm betting on XRP. XRP is used by Ripple, bro, a real ass company, So let's just be honest here. All right, Matty, we're done talking. Let's keep moving. A_Western91 says the last portfolio rating video was great. Here's mine. So he sent his portfolio in on Twitter: XRP, XLM, Casper, XTC, ALGO, HBAR, Quant, and his others consisted of NXRA, IOTA, VELO, TRIAS, Flare, Network. Matty, what are some of your thoughts on this portfolio here? I know the others here. For the others, 10%. Okay. What is your thoughts on this portfolio here?
Yeah, so I know the names of a lot of these assets in your others, but I'm not like keen on what they actually do, right? Like NXRA is Alliance Block, but I don't know what Alliance Block does. I don't know what TRIAS does. So I really can't say anything about your others portfolio. Now it only represents 10% of your portfolio, right? 90% of your portfolio is comprised of the other things. So I'd say let's focus on those and we'll just kind of consider the others kind of your smaller bags of, hey, let's see what happens. Probably got some of that flare from the airdrop. It's okay to get involved in some of these smaller holdings, especially as long as you're willing to pay attention, right? And capitalize on those opportunities when you do get nice pops here. But looking at everything that we have here, we'll just kind of go from XRP and we'll kind of rotate clockwise here. So XRP representing 41% of your portfolio. What am I supposed to say here? It's 50% of mine, right? XRP is my Bitcoin ETH position to everyone else, right? It's my big boy play. It's my large cap play that I'm like, okay, if I want a guaranteed gain and I think this is going to do well long term, right? All these different things about people preach about Bitcoin and ETH. That's my XRP, right? So I can't say that you're doing anything wrong here with a 41% XRP allocation. You are repeating yourself like we talked about in the last segment here with XLM being 4% of your portfolio. That's still a pretty big chunk here considering we're talking about, maybe 4%, but if we eliminate that 10% of micro holdings, right, becomes a little bit bigger. I would consider rotating that XLM. That's just kind of a no-brainer to me, especially if you have a good cost basis and you're up a little bit right now. Rotate that into something like Zcash. Casper, 18%. Absolutely love that. I think that's a very healthy allocation. You're betting hard on this L1. There's a reason why I'm betting hard on this L1 too. It's not just because I see the huge technical upside. I genuinely see the long-term vision for Casper, which is why I'm holding and staking that bag long-term. That's the beautiful thing too. Not to get off track with your Casper guys. It's like, you're keeping your portion of your bag here long-term. I'm swinging. I'm going to sell a lot of it, but that Casper that stays in the staking pool is just never going to leave, right? So even through the bear market, just still accumulating, right? And you're earning that in Casper. So, you're earning 10% of whatever the Casper balance is, but that could be worth exponentially more in future cycles, right? There's Casper charts that, if we look, deeper into the fib sequence, we're talking about, $16, $20, $22, right? So imagine buying some Casper now, sub 5 cents, leaving some of that, 20% of that staked. And let's say, in the next cycle, let's say it's 5 years from now, right? Until we get this next cycle and outside of this bull run, right? You have 5 years of this Casper just staking up, recompounding, beautifully preparing you for this next bull run to sell another chunk and reaccumulate, right? So I don't think that 18, almost 20% is a bad allocation here. We got XDC here. Again, I just did explain why I think XDC, if you have a Casper play and you have an HBAR play, which you do, is a bit redundant, right? You're betting heavily on that smart contract situation. I don't think it's necessary. Take that XLM and XDC, and I would absolutely rotate that into a Zcash play. You have an algo position here. We talked about that. I like that a lot. You have a quant position here. Again, let's make a decision here. Let's not keep everything payment oriented. You also don't have any oracles, API 3 or Chainlink. Right now, API 3 is much further back. That's an obvious technical decision for me there, right? So I think that you have very much the right idea. I know why a lot of you guys build your portfolios this way, and it makes perfect sense. I completely understand it. I'm just giving advice from where I have been previously with my own portfolio, right? Doubling up, doubling down on a lot of the same plays instead of being more diversified, especially if you have some of these picks that are going to be long-term holds, right? You want to make sure that there is going to be good fundamental growth in addition to that short-term technical upside when you're looking at some of these decisions, right? And we're not going to get into the other category. I would just hold on to those, brother. I don't think there's any reason to necessarily liquidate those. It represents a small portion of your portfolio. All 4 or 5 of those assets represents 10%. I wouldn't be messing around with it too much, right? But at least consider looking at Quant, XDC, and XLM. I'm not saying get rid of all of them, not saying you have to get rid of any of them, but take a look at them, see what the holdings look like, grab the fibs, see what the technical upside looks like, and see if maybe you even at least want to reduce some of that position to invest in something like API 3 and Zcash. Those are the 2 things that I would like to see in this portfolio. Some of you guys maybe are tired of hearing me talk about oracles and privacy plays. There's a reason that nobody else is talking about them right now, right? The only reason people ever started talking about Chainlink is because how well it did last cycle. If price didn't do what it did last cycle, nobody would care about Chainlink. So you guys have to care about assets before everyone else cares about assets. And that is really where the big money is made. So this portfolio, I think it looks really good. Again, there's those few things I would change. I'm going to give you a 7 out of 10 on this one.
Okay, I like that, Matty. I do want to talk about something, and it is about, in his others category, TRIAS. And from that category, you're looking at NXRA, or just, I want to look at TRIAS for a second, because it's really pinpoint out in my mind, because TRIAS has gone on a crazy march this year. And so when you're thinking about that, and if you did not buy from the bottom and you bought from the midpoint or the high point, what you're telling me is you followed someone on Twitter that told you to buy TRIAS while it was marching up.
Right.
And so if TRIAS is it already has done crazy gains this year. So just like Matty says, where it comes to reallocating your portfolio, man, a Zcash position would be major. Take that XLM, take that TRIAS, and roll that into Zcash for a privacy play. So I'm glad we didn't even talk about that other category, because for me, when I saw that, I saw dude, you did a lot of the grunt work here with these payment solutions, but then you had this other category where I've seen all these are the biggest talking points on Twitter right now. And so that's just leading me to believe, did he just buy these because he was told to through Twitter? Is that the reason why?
Right.
So that what makes me skeptical here. So I hope you bought TRIAS at the bottom and made crazy gains right now. And I hope you took profit on that TRIAS too. But anyways, 7, Matty. I think that's a good, really good.
I think 7's pretty fair. And again, it's you have those other holdings that are older, but they only represent 10% of your portfolio. So that means 90% of your portfolio is set on stuff that is very highly adopted and very high value utility wise and technical wise, right? So I don't have a problem with people taking a little bit of their portfolio and being like, all right, let's see what happens here. Let's roll the dice, right? It's fine to take a little portion of that, but make sure that 90% of your portfolio or so is set in really, really good stuff, right? If you guys wanted to gamble a little on the meme coins, you want to gamble a little bit on the micro caps, that's fine. But make sure that the majority of your portfolio that you would absolutely be sobbing about if it all went to zero is based on good technical and fundamental setups.
Sean says, come on, Matty, do mine, bud. Second time sending it in. I want your opinion on what to keep, sell, load up on more. So Algorand, HBAR, Quant, Casper, XRP, Ethereum, GALA, Zcash, XLM, a lot of the cryptos you have in your portfolio with a little bit extra, Matty. What are your thoughts on this portfolio?
What are we doing with the Ethereum, man? I genuinely ask because, I mean, you look at everything else you have in here and like you clearly see the upside, right? You clearly see the upside in Zcash and Casper and XRP, Hedera, Algorand, right? Like all these are so far technically back in their cycles. Even Gala's way further back than, a lot of other metaverse projects right now. Again, I hope that most of you guys who bought Gala, if you bought Gala in the last, 2 years on Coinbase, that you guys moved it off of Coinbase because they did this upgrade, this fork for Gala to V2. And basically, if you left it in Coinbase, you didn't do anything with it, you didn't get the V2, and your V1 is basically worthless right now. So I hope you guys took care of that because if not, you're going to be very disappointed when you log into your Coinbase and see that you can't sell Gala because it's not really the same token anymore. Gala V2 is where the actual value transferred onto or is forked onto. Again, let's make a decision here with Quant and XLM, right? Again, maybe it's not XRP. Maybe you kick XRP off your list and you keep XLM and you keep Quant. Fine, go for it. Again, I'm very, very long-term bull on XRP. I think they have a big head start on institutional adoption, even with the SEC case that was intact for a little over 2 years. We've just seen resilience, we've seen adoption, we've seen a lot of CBDC talks. We just haven't seen the same level of adoption, in my opinion, with Stellar Lumens as of now. So would definitely look to consider looking at the XLM allocation and maybe reallocating it. Again, I don't see an Oracle on here, so let's maybe consider Linker API 3. Gala Games, again, I think that's a great pick for a metaverse project. Let's see here. We got Quant. Again, that should probably go. I like HBAR a lot on here. It's, I think that I like HBAR too because of the unique consensus mechanism. There's nobody else using a hash graph out there right now, right? Even though it's very similar to a DAG, it's not. It's different than a DAG. So I think from a proprietary standpoint, HBAR almost stands in its own category because of the consensus mechanism. So that's why I haven't really advised you guys to pull HBAR or suggest a rotating of HBAR, even if you hold Casper, because they are satiating the problem in slightly different ways, right? So I do think that holding HBAR and Casper makes a lot of sense, right? But if I were to be holding assets that pretty much have the same consensus, right, and they solve the exact same problem, and they have, one has more technical upside than the other, there's kind of some obvious decisions that need to be made here, right? If we're just going to go from the keeps, keep Algo, HBAR, Casper, XRP, Gala, and Zcash, right? I would keep those 6. Those are the ones that I really, really like out of this portfolio. And again, Stellar Lumens is going to make new all-time highs. All of these assets on this list will make a new all-time high this coming cycle. I'm not telling you guys they're going to zero. I'm just trying to be tactical with the distribution, both from a vertical standpoint, a fundamental standpoint, and a technical upside standpoint, right? Again, when you're looking at Ethereum here, like best case scenario for Ethereum is like a 7x from current market price, which is good. But then you also look at some of these other alts that like get into the retracements and there's like a 10x there without making a new all-time high, right? So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, let's get into ETH at a 7x because it's the guaranteed winner, right? When guys, come on, the crypto market moves as a whole. Have we ever had a situation where Bitcoin strictly goes up and then the rest of the altcoin market is just like, we're not moving at all. We're not doing a thing, right? You're generally going to have a disproportional pump in altcoins compared to the larger caps, right? You look at Ethereum, it commands a very large portion of the total market cap for crypto right now, right? If you look at ETH.D, Ethereum dominance, it represents a very big portion of the market. So yes, even though we get influxes in the market, right? We're expecting trillions of dollars to pour in over the coming decades, right? The market grows, but as projects get bigger, it takes more and more money to push them higher, right? Same reason when you look at the Dow Jones, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ, right? You will never, ever, ever make the same money that your grandparents did in the stock market when it was still young. Why? Because it is proportional to the amount of money that's in the actual market, right? So as market cap climbs, it's harder to get more gains out of those same assets, right? Ethereum maybe is a 7x this cycle, maybe it's a 5x next cycle, 3x cycle after that, which again, still vastly outperforms the majority of indexes out there. But when you have other altcoins on here, right? Looking at all these altcoins on here, there are so many assets on here that are fundamentally sound that are going to provide exponentially greater upside, which is why I always talk about selling the majority of my bag at each bag here that I'd be talking about, right? And holding a portion of it long term, because I don't know what the new opportunities are going to look like next cycle, right? And I don't want to be tethered down into this whole long-term hold everything situation when there's 10, 20, 50, and 100x's potential on the table each and every cycle until this volatility subsides, right? So that's really, again, the main reason why I'm not into these huge mega caps like Bitcoin and ETH, because the upside is just in there. It's just not there compared to the other alts, right? Casper gets halfway to its goal. You've outperformed Ethereum twice over, right? So that's just kind of my thought process there. So, again, nothing bad here. Asset wise, I would, like to see maybe 4 of these rotated or eliminated. We're giving you a 6.5 out of 10 on this.
I like that portfolio. We had a bunch of other portfolios, but we just don't have enough time here, team. And Matty goes into depth with your guys' portfolios, which is awesome, and you should be thanking him. So make sure you leave him a thanks in the comments. And if you're in the Discord, leave him a thanks, with a thumbs up. So we could probably do this again next year. Maybe, I don't know. I really want to focus in because you guys always have a lot of good questions, and next year is going to be a really big year. I mean, we're constantly talking about on Crypto Charge what's going on with inflation, what's going on with the jobs, what's going on with the Fed, and also too, it's an election year next year. It's going to be popping next year, and I want you guys to get your questions answered by Matty. So if you enjoyed the show, please leave a thumbs up. And there's one thing I want to talk about here really quick because Matty, we had the meme coin earlier, and it's throwing me for a loop here. And I really just want to clarify this with you because I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because you've always taught me, Matty, you have always taught me every dollar matters. And so when I approach my portfolio, that's how I do it. A couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, we had this guy, in our ecosystem that was shilling NFTs, that was telling us to, get in before these NFTs even launch and yada yada yada, get in with the team, get NFTs, blah blah blah. And I was so against it because I learned from Matty here, and Matty here is like, dude, you can't even chart NFTs. Like, it's really up to speculation here. And Matty, me and you had a great conversation about NFTs the other day, where it's like, if we can chart them, that's cool. When's the best time to get into NFTs? Probably right now. Start shopping around right now to see what these projects are doing. You're going to see Bored Ape Yacht Club have a good run next year. So when you look at all these things and we look at speculative investing, and a lot of, like you just said earlier, a lot of this is speculative investing. But when you're looking at assets like XRP, I'm going to say it with passion here. When you're looking at assets like XRP that are being used by a company, you are really passing up a huge opportunity right now, a huge opportunity with a solution that is being solved by XRP, a payment problem in the world. You're simply missing out. So, Matty, when it comes to meme coins, you said earlier, if it's a small portion, whatever, I know Matty's in the past has gotten into NFTs. He looks to trade meme coins, and that's great. But I just want to stand on my own too here, team, and just say, be careful with your dollars, because if you're on the low side, if you have a small portfolio, if you're not paying attention to crypto, you're going to miss out on selling those assets next year. Matty, is there anything you want to clarify here? Because, I know it's like, you like to be nice with these portfolios, and I know you trade these assets, which is completely different than long-term investing with meme coins like Pepe and SHIB and Doge, which are completely atrocious. And if you look at our last crypto rating portfolio, Matty went off on some portfolios that had that, large holdings in their portfolios that had that, which is outrageous. If you're investing in crypto, you probably only, look at Twitter and buy some assets when you feel like it. Matty, so can you just put me at ease here with meme coins? What's the stance here?
So, when you hear about a meme coin, right? When you hear about a meme coin going crazy, you've definitely already missed the bottom. That's a guarantee that you've already missed the bottom. When people were asking me about Bonk, right? Bonk had literally done a 100x in like a matter of like a month and a half, right? And you're just playing with fire at that point, right? Are you a day trader? No. Then what are you doing, right? For me, right, I'll absolutely take any asset that's on MEXC, and if the chart shows me a strong technical setup, right? Like, hey, I'm going to enter here. I'm going to put my stop loss here. I'm going to put my TP here. The risk reward ratio makes sense to me. Let's execute, right? That is vastly different than investing large amounts of spot dollars and then, waiting to see if it does another 100, 200x, right? If you decide to get into meme coins, and let's say it does a 2x, a 5x, a 10x very, very quickly, take your money and run, right? Yep. There's no guarantee it's going to do it again, right? And everyone on Twitter is going to tell you it's going to do it again. Why? Because they just bought in, right? They just bought in. And so, of course, they want everyone to think it's going to go a little bit further, right? When there's no fundamental case to invest into the thing that you're investing in, and the only thing you're investing in is for that price is going to go higher because you think that the retail is going to be driving price significantly higher, you are putting yourself in a terrible, terrible spot, right? So that's why when we looked at that portfolio, right, we talked about such a small percentage of it, right? You're looking at, okay, let's say I have $10,000 to invest. I'm going to take $1,000 of this and I'm going to split it up between these 6 big meme coins. And I'm going to see what happens, right? You're just have to make this agreement with yourself that those things could result in a rug pull, right? SafeMoon is actually probably one of the best examples of this. So many idiots I saw on Facebook telling me, you got to buy ZooCoin, you got to buy SafeMoon, which is just a corny name altogether. SafeMoon, like we're going to safely arrive at the moon. Guess what they just did? Filed for bankruptcy, right? Filed for Chapter 7. And again, you don't see all of the meme coins that don't do well or get absolutely rugged, right? Squid Games, great example of that. Straight up, straight down, never came back, right? So many of these micro caps and variations of these meme coins, get these little groups all excited. Price pumps a little bit because there's only a few $1 million in the meme coin altogether, and then it just collapses, right? So more often than not, you are statistically more likely to lose money on a meme coin than make money on a meme coin, right? So just accept those odds and probabilities when you enter it. If you still after all that, you're like, I don't care. I want to swing for the fences. I want to bet big to win big. Go for it. But just understand that you're putting yourself at a lot of disadvantages when there's so many options out there that are better, quote unquote, guaranteed winners, right?
Yeah, man, I just want to address that because you're going to get the people in there. It's like, oh, Matty, meme coins. Oh, he's becoming more accepting meme coins. No, we're not. And I just needed, because you've mentioned it on plenty of shows before, but you have so much to talk about in the show and to talk about our portfolio. And I didn't even want that to slip in the minds of these people like Matty's becoming more. No, if you're a trader like Matty, go ahead. If you're paying close attention, go ahead. But if you're allocating 50% of your portfolio into a meme coin, I don't want you near me. I don't want you subscribe to Crypto Charge. I don't want you in the Discord. I'm just kidding. But, it's just, it riles me up. It riles me up. Anyways. All right, team. We've had a great show today. Matty, this is the last show of the year. Anything to leave the team with here? Next year, big year like we talked about earlier. Expectations maybe. What are your thoughts going into next year?
Well, first of all, I hope you guys have had a good year so far. I know that it's been a very nice end of the year here, seeing a nice rally after just getting our asses kicked for 2 years here in the market and just accumulating and doing the boring stuff. But that's the stuff that really, breeds us to the bigger reward moving forward. I would say as coming into this next year, maybe make just a couple decisions that are going to make you a little bit more intentional with your investing, right? One of the things that I try to advise a lot of people to do, and it maybe sounds good at first, but they think it's kind of corny, is get a trading journal, right? And sometimes that can mean you write in your journal, I didn't trade anything today. I didn't DCA anything, right? Sometimes just writing how you're feeling during certain market, each day during market conditions, right? It helps you kind of put it out of your mind, right? Because a lot of the time, it's not so much the things we invest in. It's not so much, the market volatility. It's our emotions that get weathered away during these big events and all this market nonsense that happens. And if you can just take a journal and you can write down each and every day what you're thinking, it could be one sentence. I didn't trade today. Today sucked. That's fine. That's good enough, right? Next day, bought this much Bitcoin, bought this much XRP, That's it, right? Tracking and writing down and holding yourself accountable to at least being intentional with your investing every day is going to change the way that you approach investing. I have a trading journal, and sometimes I don't write a whole lot in it, but at least every single day I pop a quick entry in there, and that way I can always look back. How was I feeling 1 year ago today? How was I feeling 2 years ago today? I can tell you exactly how I felt, a year and a half ago today. I felt shitty. I felt terrible. I felt that there were a lot of people who were brand new to this market that I had to take care of that, didn't understand market volatility and bear markets, right? I felt defeated. I felt like maybe I had made the wrong decision continuing to DCA, right? And then you fast forward to today and you're like, wow, like those were some crazy thoughts that I was having, right? So those are one of the things that I would consider, getting invested in. Doesn't have to be expensive. Get a little composition notebook from Walmart. It's more than good enough, right? And just start journaling, right? Because it makes you more accountable to your own investing.
I love that, Matty. That is definitely necessary. If you're going to the gym with your notebook and charting down your workout, there's no reason why you should be jotting down your crypto investing. It is just as emotional as you in the gym. You want to push yourself. You want to do all that stuff in the gym. Push yourself in investing, but also keep track of what you're doing. And I didn't really realize this because Matty really taught me to be emotionless, right? If you started crypto and became emotionless like I did, like I started investing at 19 years old into crypto, and Matty was like, dude, take your emotion out of it. And then he started showing me charts where it's like, dude, why would you have emotion when all these assets rise together in a bull market? What's the reason to cry about? And that's where like I completely taken my emotion out of it. But then I look at Twitter, Matty, and then all these people are tweeting outrageous things, upset, and you got a lot of flack. Talking back about you being defeated, you were the guy putting up XRP, putting up Casper. And well, let's just go back to XRP here really quick. We had a major year as an XRP community this year with SEC Ripple and that clarity that we got that was a great time, and that was a feeling of fulfillment, I would imagine, with you.
Absolutely.
Because you're telling, you look at your portfolio you were just talking about earlier about, you're predominantly having that XRP position as your Bitcoin or having a Casper position as your Ethereum. And you have to kind of live and die by that because, you're on a platform like YouTube, you have the Ask Matty show, and you're held to high standards here. And to see all of that come to fulfillment this year, that was pretty awesome. And I know we're waiting on like that big Casper ballistic move, but let's be honest here, we're gonna get it. We're getting
ready. Absolutely.
So I'm super excited, team. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know if you got some valuable from Matty here, because I did. And team, we will see you next year. Adios.
Happy holidays.